Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on That Adventure Life. If it's your first time here, I'm Dustin.
And I'm V.
And we are out here today to do something pretty cool in Death Valley National Park. We're going to explore Sidewinder Canyon.
It is in the wilderness of Death Valley National Park, so there's no trail here, or there's no established trail here. It's kind of exciting because we always usually stay in the middle of the park, where all the tourists go. So this is one of the first time that we're going to be exploring the wilderness area. It is 5 miles long. According to all trails, it's only 1,000 feet gain, but on the park website, it's 1,500 feet gain. There are a lot of scrambling, some ledges, and of course, slot canyons. So there are, I think, 3 or 4 branches off the trails, like little slot canyon that you can explore, and they can get very narrow and very dark. So we're excited. So yeah, you want to come? Let's go.
I hope so. Let's do it.
You really need to watch for the turnoff of Badwater Road. We missed it the first time and had to turn around. You will know that you found the right one when you see this tiny sign. Even though the dirt road to the trailhead is covered in washboard, we don't think that you'll need any type of special vehicle to get there. Eventually, we found ourselves in a large paved parking lot, and it was time to begin the hike. Please note that this hike is considered somewhere between moderate and difficult depending on how far you want to go into the slot canyons. If this seems like a little bit too much for your skill level, don't even worry about it. You can click in the upper corner right now to watch our video of 5 easy and awesome hikes in Death Valley National Park. The trail is quite faint as you exit the right side of the parking lot and climb up the hill. There are only some small rock cairns showing you that you're going the right direction. This first part can be a little bit confusing because there are a couple of different openings to choose from, but just know that you need to go to the right of the embankment that you see right here. You'll know that you've gone the right way if you end up in a massive wash. Even though this part of the hike is not technical at all, it is exhausting. All the way from the parking lot to the end of this main wash is uphill and it's covered in sand and gravel. This will take more effort to walk in, and even though you're going to be getting some shade inside the slot canyons, I would definitely not attempt this hike if it's hot out. This hike is listed on the park's website, and it talks about there being 3 slot canyons. But at about 4/10 of a mile into the hike, we actually came to 2 bonus canyons. The first one is, as you can see, on the left side of the main wash. Even though there are tons of rocks and things to trip over here, this is a great warm-up slot canyon. There isn't any climbing involved in this one, so if you're visiting with children or inexperienced hikers, this may be a great place to gauge their comfort level. Even though this is not one of the main slots of this hike, it goes in for quite a ways. So far, in fact, we didn't reach the end of it. Knowing that we still had some pretty cool things ahead of us to check out, we turned around and headed back. Once we made our way back to the main wash, the next bonus slot was almost directly across from it. Obviously, if you are short on time, you can always head straight to the main 3 slots and bypass both of these. But if you have a whole day devoted to this hike like we did, these are both worth checking out. This one is quite a bit more narrow and rocky than the first bonus slot, and it's also where you'll get your first opportunity to experience some technical sections. You will be climbing over some ledges here that are up to 6 feet tall. If that last climb was too tricky for you, you're probably not going to be able to do the ones in the main slot canyons because they are quite a bit sketchier. The good thing is that if you find out this early that this trail's not for you, you can always cut your losses and go hike another awesome trail like 𝐿𝐴 Canyon, which you can see in the upper corner. Eventually, this slot dead ends at a 20 to 30 foot tall dry fall, and there was no way we were going to attempt to climb that. As much fun as slot canyons are to explore, one thing you need to be very careful of is the weather. There are lots of environmental factors that go into forming these slot canyons, but one of the main ones is rainwater rushing through them at a very high speed. So if there is rain anywhere in the nearby area, please do not attempt this hike. After leaving bonus slot number 2, we're going to be making a right and heading about 0.2 of a mile further up the canyon. Eventually you will see the turnoff for main slot canyon number 1 on your right side. A short distance after making the right, you will be coming to a fork. Here you will need to hug that wall on the left. This will lead you directly to the opening of main slot 1, and this is where things are about to get fun. Just getting into this slot requires a combination of climbing and crawling. V was somehow able to do a bit of a duck walk through the opening, but I had to do a little bit more of an army crawl. Main slot 1 is definitely an exciting little canyon, and it's also kind of dark. If you're going to be taking these on for yourself, you definitely need to bring either a headlight or a flashlight. It's a shame that at right around 1/10 of a mile long, this is one of the shortest slots in this canyon, because it is really fun. After dipping under this boulder, you will be entering one last cave. You can hike into it for just a little bit before you come to one of the first tricky rock climbs of this hike. And just know that this climb is pretty much optional. We didn't know how much further on the trail was going to go after it, so we did it. But the trail ends about 20 feet after the climb, so I would say that this is pretty much optional. And just in case you don't want to climb but you still want to see what the end of the trail looks like, don't worry, because we've got you covered. Here it is. Unlike a couple of the other dry falls that we came to, this one looked pretty much impossible to climb, so I'm guessing that this is definitely the end of Slot Canyon 1. If you're going to be taking on any of the climbs in these slot canyons, just know that climbing down can often be harder than climbing up. Unlike traditional rock climbing, you're just using a bunch of pebbles that are sticking out of the dirt, so sometimes finding your foot placement can be tricky. It's always a good idea to send your strongest climber down first so they can call out foot chips to you, and always check the rocks you're going to use before putting your full weight on them. We both had a couple of rocks blow out of the walls on us, but luckily for the most part, they were pretty solid. We found another small tunnel to help us exit Slot Canyon 1, and soon we were on our way back towards the main wash. After leaving main slot 1, we were having a great time, and we were pretty stoked to hear that main slot 2 is only about 1/10 of a mile down the trail. This slot is also located on the right side of the wash, and it's pretty hard to miss. If any of the previous canyons have been close to your limit as far as your technical skills are concerned, please note that this is the most technical slot canyon of this entire hike. We went about 4/10 of a mile into this slot canyon, and over the course of it we faced a ton of different obstacles, including large boulders and climbs of between 6 and 8 feet. There are also several dark sections here, so once again you're going to need that light source. The dark sections really make Sidewinder stand out from other slot canyons that we visited. While it may not have the picturesque curved sandstone walls of Antelope Canyon, the mystery of this place really makes you feel like you're on some sort of Indiana Jones type of adventure. One great thing about all of the climbing that you'll be doing in this canyon is that the rocks on the walls seem to have a really grippy texture to them. When you mix that with hopefully some solid hiking shoes, it will make navigating these canyons a whole lot easier. Even with that, this is probably one of the most challenging climbs of the entire hike. And the hard part is, it's even trickier on the way back down. After a couple difficult and tall climbs, things are going to be settling down just a bit. Technique and strength is still absolutely crucial, but at least if you mess up, you're not going to fall very far. Things will be getting a little bit tight from time to time in this slot, and there were a few times where I could barely make it through with my backpack on. After winding our ways through the twisting corridors of the canyons, it's easy to see how this got the name Sidewinder. And bonus fact, Death Valley is home to the Sidewinder rattlesnake, which is extremely poisonous. Luckily for us, we did not encounter any on our visit, but that does not mean that they don't exist, so be sure to watch out for them. Another thing that we were happy that we didn't see out here was spiders. If you want to see a video where I get pretty creeped out, check out our video where we hiked to Geronimo's cave by clicking in the upper corner. We had a couple more pretty decent and high climbs left to do as we made our way towards the back of the canyon. After those thrilling climbs were out of the way, we found ourselves in a much wider canyon with tons of large boulders to scramble around. According to the park's website, this slot doesn't really have a defined endpoint. So after hiking in for about 4/10 of a mile, we decided that we were going to head back. We were both just a tiny bit nervous because we knew that some of these down climbs were going to put our skills to the test. One of the good things about the vast majority of the down climbs is that they are so narrow that you can stem your way across the slot, like you see V doing here. This gives you multiple points of contact and just makes you feel much more comfortable on the way down. We were making pretty good progress on our way back down through the canyon, and that's when we came to that one tricky climb, and I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't just a little bit spicy. Stemming is not an option here, and the feet are for the most part blind. So this is where you're really going to have to rely on a spotter to call them out for you. After that, you will be going through the darkness one last time before you get yourself back to the main trail. We are now back out to the wash, and we will once again be making a right to head towards main slot number 3. The scenery here will be changing a little bit because the walls will be closing in significantly. After passing these cool little wind caves that reminded us a lot of Spooky Canyon, which you can see by clicking in that upper corner, we were almost to main slot number 3. The opening to this one is a little bit more subtle, so you really have to keep your eyes on the right side of the trail. Main slot 3 has some really neat features like these cool doorways and some tight squeezes. It has a couple of spots on it that get dark, but nowhere near as much as the other two. You will see some pretty crazy things in here, like massive boulders just jetting out of the wall. And as we continued even further into the slot, we saw something that we weren't really expecting to see, and that was a tiny little waterfall. This made me instantly do another weather check on the Garmin InReach, but it turned out that we were okay to continue. Another fun element of this slot is this short tunnel section. The tunnel is only about 20 feet long, which is a good thing for all the claustrophobic adventurers out there. As we continued on, we came to a really difficult climb, which of course V made look easy. It turns out that this is the end of the slot canyon, so there really is no need to do this climb unless you think it's fun like we do. On the other side of that climb is a 20-foot tall dry fall. I feel like if you were out of your mind and a very talented climber, you might be able to get up that one, but we weren't going to chance it. Even though the overall distance of this hike is not very long, with all the scrambling and climbing inside the slots, it's going to take some time and some energy. Please be sure to bring plenty of water and snacks to keep you going. Once you reach the end of the third main slot canyon, you will have a choice to make. A lot of people turn left and head back to the car, but we still had a little bit left in the tank, so we thought we would continue on. For the most part, going all the way to the back of the wash is going to be fairly easy. You are still going to be hiking uphill, so that's going to be tiring. But besides one decent climb that you'll see in just a second, there is nothing really technical compared to what you've been doing. And here we have that climb. At first I thought we might be able to find some way up the right side of it, and it could be quite doable. We didn't attempt it. We were a little fatigued at this point, so when we spotted an easy way up the left side, we went for it. Hiking to the end and back after Slot Canyon 3 will add about 1.5 miles to your hike. While it may not be anything mind-blowing, it does make for a well-rounded experience here. Here we are arriving at the end of the main wash. At this point, the trail just sort of vanishes into a large boulder field. Obviously, if you are a hardcore explorer, you could go farther. But we were starting to head towards the evening hours, and we decided that it was a good time to start heading back towards the car. After one last, possibly tricky down climb, you are pretty much home free. The nice thing is that after all of the work that you've put in so far, the wash is downhill all the way back. You will still have to deal with all of the sand and gravel, but the decline felt so nice. This was definitely one fun adventure, and I would even say more fun than we had bargained for. But as much as we were enjoying ourselves, I will say that our legs were tired, and we were sure excited when we saw the Jeep slowly come into sight. Death Valley is one of those magical places where it feels like you're always finding something new to do. Hopefully we can add something to your itinerary for your next visit to the park. Feel free to let us know something you think we should experience next time we visit in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because that really helps out the channel. And if you want more information about Sidewinder Canyon, including GPS coordinates to the parking and all of the slots, head on over to 𝐿𝑇HADVENTURELIFE.com.